Okay, seems that the live stream is up and running. Computer recording done.
Cloud is started.
Backup is rolling.
Okay, Sergeant Kotowski, you may begin with your opening statement.
Good morning, and welcome to today's remote New York City Council hearing of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. At this time, would Council staff please turn on their video? Please place electronic devices on vibrate or silent. Thank you. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Councilmember Francisco Moya, Chair of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. Today, we are joined remotely by Council Members Grodenchik, Rivera, Reynoso, Levin, and Koo. Today, we will vote on the Special Flushing Waterfront District proposal, which was heard by this subcommittee on November 9th. Before we begin, as a reminder, council members with comments or questions should use the Zoom raise hand function and will be recognized in order. Today, we will vote to approve LUs 694 and 695 of the Special Flushing Waterfront District relating to property in Council Member Koo's district in Queens. The application seeks a zoning map amendment to establish the Special Flushing Waterfront District, including the rezoning of existing C42 and M31 district to an M12 R71 district, as well as a zoning text amendment to create special district rules regarding use, bulk, and parking, and related modifications to the underlying district regulations, including the establishment of a mandatory inclusionary housing area utilizing options 1 and 2. The proposal is intended to facilitate the development of approximately 1.6 million square feet of residential space, including 1,725 dwelling units, 1.4 million square feet of commercial space, and 22,000 square feet of community facility space. The district would include a new private roadwork to facilitate access to the various development sites and the new waterfront regulation in order to create 2.8 acres of publicly accessible open space. Also a new public plaza and a 40-foot wide shore public walkway along the Flushing Creek waterfront between 36th Avenue and Roosevelt Avenue and 40th Road. Councilmember Koo, who represents this area of Queens, has worked tirelessly to achieve the best possible project for his community. To that end, and due to Councilmember Koo's efforts, the applicant has committed to maximizing affordable housing on the development site 4. Development Site 4 is the only site seeking additional residential floor area under the proposal and is expected to include 300 units. The applicant will work with city and other public agencies to secure funding through existing subsidy programs and other available funding to achieve that goal. At a time when so many neighborhoods are struggling, this project would provide an economic lifeline in the form of union employment and tens of millions of dollars in additional tax revenues to the city of New York. The choice for better jobs, a larger waterfront, open space, local hiring, and additional affordable housing as compared with the as-of-right option, which offers none of these, is clear. At this time, I would like to take the opportunity to recognize my colleague, Councilmember Koo, for some remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Moya. I'm very happy to announce that last night we reached an agreement with labor groups and the applicants that will include union jobs in Special Flushing Waterfront District with both 32 BJ and Hotel Trades Council. This was a hard-fought agreement, but at the end of the day, the applicants and the labor groups were able to arrive at a place that will include good-paying local jobs for Flushing community, and on a grander scale, a commitment to our economic recovery at a time when we need it most. We are getting a commitment from the development team with ties to our community and who will finally connect downtown Flushing to its waterfront via an expanded promenade with playgrounds, pedestrian trails, and open space. We are getting 30% affordable housing on the rezoned portion on the site, on Site 4. Importantly, the applicants have entered into agreement with the city to further engage in discussions over the next 3 years with HPD and the council to work on ways to secure financing so we can maximize the amount of affordable housing on site. Sadly, the pandemic has caused cuts across the board, so it was necessary to look to the future when we are not so set back by budget cuts, where we can work on securing funding for more affordability. To name some benefits, we are getting a commitment to sustainable sewage infrastructure that won't contribute CSO. We are getting workforce agreements with the Chambers of Commerce of Queens and the Flushing Business Improvement District, and both of our lighter developments at Blend Houses and Latimer Gardens. We are getting new youth mentoring space for La Jornada food pantry. And most importantly, we are getting an opportunity to provide economic stimulus to our community for the future. I would like to thank Speaker Johnson, Chair Moyer, Chair Salamanca, Jason Goldman, Ebony Meeks, Anthony, Waju Mann, Genevieve Michael, Amy Leviton, John Douglas, Arthur Hu, Julie Lubin, and the entire Land Use Division. I would especially like to thank the applicants and the labor unions who came together despite a lot of misinformation and misleading rhetoric from agitators. This agreement goes to show that the real progress can be made if only we decide not to blame, accuse, and demand, but to talk, listen, and to compromise. Thank you. I would urge all my members in the subcommittee to vote affirmative on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. I now call for a vote to approve LUs 694 and 695. Council, can you please call the roll?
Chair Moya,
Aye.
Councilmember Levin,
I vote aye.
Councilmember Reynoso,
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you. I want to begin by thanking Councilmember Koo and the chair, Councilmember Francisco Moyo, for all their work to get this project to where it is now. When the project initially came to the council, there was not a single tangible public benefit associated with it. And due to the negotiations with the applicant, we now have a guarantee of union labor and potentially for more income restricted building on the single site being upzoned. However, as I expressed during the hearing, I have significant problems with this project, and I don't see the proposed project or the as of right scenario as a true win for the Flushing community. This is not just a failure by the applicant team, but an indictment on New York City's approach to land use and planning. The development of over 1,000 condos priced at 7 figures does absolutely nothing to dig us out of our housing crisis. The ability of a developer to move forward with such a scenario without any action from the city council speaks to a complete abdication of responsibility by the Department of City Planning to proactively address our housing crisis through its zoning and land use tools. The development community must also step up, and I want to make it clear that I do not view the concessions made by the developer to be civic-minded, but rather a greedy exploitation of New York City's terrible planning and land use processes. It is long overdue for the city to develop a comprehensive plan in partnership with communities that would lay out long-term strategies for addressing issues related to housing, transportation, healthcare, open space, resiliency, and economic development. I urge this council to introduce and adopt legislation to enact such a plan as soon as possible. I also want to express my disappointment that this council continues to have discussions about bucking member deference exclusively when projects are situated in communities represented by members of color. I have watched this council approve plenty of problematic projects in districts represented by white members without any comment at all. I have voiced opposition to the practice of member deference in the past. But if we're going to have that conversation, I expect that we do so in an inclusive and equitable way, not just when it's politically convenient. Voting for this project is a vote for union labor and the potential for affordable housing to be incorporated into this project. Voting against it would result in essentially the exact same project, but without these benefits. At a time when the city is facing double-digit unemployment, it is my responsibility to ensure that we are creating well-paying jobs for New Yorkers where we can, and due to the significant work by 32BJ and HTC, we will receive that with this project. This is definitely a lesser of two evils in this vote, and I'm uncomfortable with it. However, the as of right scenario is clearly the worst option, and I am therefore voting yes on this application. Thank you, Chair.
Councilmember Grodenchik.
Permission to briefly explain my vote, Chair Moya?
Permission granted.
Thank you. First, let me congratulate everybody who was involved in bringing this critically important project for New York City to the state where it is today. I want to congratulate my colleague Peter Koo. I want to congratulate the chair. I know both of you have been working many, many hours on this, and the land use staff as well. And I want to thank them for keeping me informed and everybody that was involved with this. I grew up on the edge of Flushing, and many times I walked from what is now Peter Koo's district into what is now Chair Moya's district, and looked at that forlorn piece of property that we're discussing today. I walked across the bridge because I lived in a two-fare zone, and I was often going to see the Mets get pounded at Shea Stadium. You know, we have done a lot in recent decades to reclaim our waterfront from what has really been a walled-off situation. The best example in Queens is the waterfront in Long Island City, where you would come to the end of the street and there would be a concrete batching plant or something like that, and there was absolutely no access to the waterfront. And that is the situation that exists in Flushing today. The Flushing River, probably more of a tidal estuary than a river, there's no way to get to it. And the largest group of people that live there are public housing residents at Bland Housing, where there are 400 apartments. So I'm voting for this. I want to thank Peter Koo for his outreach to me. And I know as Councilman Reynoso just said, this is a much better project than we would have had as of right. And we are getting also a park in an area that is desperately in need of public parkland as well. And I see that the doubling of the width of the promenade along the waterfront will also be a public park-like amenity. So congratulations to all involved, and remembering my dear friend, mentor, and former boss, Claire Schulman. This was the last project she worked on. I happily vote aye.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rivera.
Permission to explain my vote?
Permission granted.
Thank you. I want to thank Chairs Moya and of course Salamanca, Councilmember Koo, for working together with the applicants and the labor leaders to achieve a deal that includes better jobs and potential affordable housing opportunities for low-income New Yorkers. And I just want to echo what my colleague, Councilmember Reynoso, said of the issues and why we're voting yes here today. I personally need to review more of the details announced this morning by Councilmember Koo and the applicant, and I look forward to examining the agreement before our full council vote at tomorrow's stated meeting. So with that in mind, and with some of the comments previously made, I vote yes.
Vote of 5 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and no abstentions. The item is recommended for adoption by the full Land Use Committee.
Thank you, Arthur. That concludes today's business, and I would like to thank my colleagues. Congratulations again to Councilmember Koo, also to the subcommittee council, land use and other council staff, and the Sergeant at Arms for participating in today's meeting. But in particular, I'd like to really recognize the incredible work that was done by our land use staff, Raju Man, who continues to always amazed at how we can do this through this period that we're experiencing now through COVID. We have all the land use staff has gone through some some serious rezonings that we've been working on, but they truly work 24/7. So thank you, Raju, and to John Douglas and Amy Leviton and everyone from the land use staff for your work on this project and helping it bring it home. So with that, thank you. This meeting is hereby adjourned.